It begins in the rolling hills of central Kenya, where the air is crisp and green, and where the Kikuyu people have lived for generations. There was a young girl named Nduta, full of life, bright-eyed and determined. She grew up in a humble homestead, helping her mother with chores, dreaming of a bright future. In the same village lived a young boy named Ndung'u, kind, respectful, and hardworking, always helping his father mend fences or till the land. Nduta and Ndung'u met in their teenage years. It was at a youth choir practice one Sunday afternoon that their eyes first truly locked, and something in their hearts stirred. They laughed together, teased each other, and slowly a bond formed, stronger than the shy smiles they exchanged. But as is so often true, life had other plans. Nduta left for boarding school, determined to chase higher education. Ndungu stayed behind, helping his family on their small shamba. They tried to keep their love alive through letters, but distance, school, and time slowly stole away what they had. Years passed. Nduta returned home in her early 20s, a confident young woman working in the city, focused on building a career. But then, Ndongo was running a small carpentry business, struggling to make ends meet. When they met again in the town market, they shared stories, even smiles. But their paths had split too far apart. Nduta had big dreams, and Ndungu had village responsibilities. Ndongo later married a man named Kamene. Beautiful, yes, but dramatic, controlling, and manipulative. Together they had a daughter, and for a while Ndongo hoped this would bring him peace. But Kamene turned their daughter into a weapon, blackmailing him with threats of taking the child away whenever they disagreed. Their home was full of shouting, bitterness, and hopelessness. For 6 long years, Ndongo lived this way until finally the situation exploded. The elders gathered, called Kamene to account for her behavior, and threw her out of Ndongo's house. It was a shameful moment, but a painful relief for Ndongo. Meanwhile, Nduta had moved on as well. She fell in love with a married man, hoping he would one day leave his wife for her. But that day never came. Instead, she bore him 2 children, a boy and a girl, and lived in a state of endless waiting and disappointment. 7 years of an on and off relationship left Nduta tired and broken. Finally, she ended it, determined to find peace again. And so, two hearts once joined by innocent teenage love found themselves alone again, wounded by life. But God had not forgotten them. One night, Ndongo knelt down in prayer. Tears fell on the dirty floor of his small house as he pleaded, God, I have failed in so many ways. If there is still hope for me, show me. In that stillness, a gentle voice in his spirit whispered, Find Nduta. And far away in her own tiny house, Nduta prayed beside her sleeping children, asking God if there was still love left for her, if her heart would ever heal. And the same gentle voice whispered, Accept Ndongo. In the days that followed, as if guided by unseen hands, they crossed paths again in the busy town market. Ndongo approached her, humble, fearful, yet honest. He said, Nduta, can we talk? She froze, remembering the boy he had been, seeing now the man he had become, and she said, Yes. They went to the same quiet hill where they had once dreamt together as teens. Ndongo spoke with tears in his eyes. I know I failed you. I know I failed myself. But God told me to try again, to do it right this time. Nduta felt tears in her own eyes, remembering all the pain. After everything? He nodded, yes, after everything. And Nduta, touched by the Holy Spirit, smiled. If God says yes, then who am I to say no? They started again, rebuilding carefully, But life was not easy. Money was scarce, the children needed feeding, the house was leaking, and doubt crept in. Ndung'u tried carpentry, fixing neighbors' stools and chicken coops for small change. Nduta started sewing school uniform under a tree in the marketplace. Every night they gathered their children and prayed, asking God to make a way. Slowly, little blessings arrived. A neighbor paid Ndungu to fix 20 school desks, the biggest job he had ever seen. Nduta found customers lining up to buy her neat, well-made uniform. Together, they began to pay off debts, fix the leaking roof, and even buy extra timber for the next job. Sunday after Sunday, they went to church to thank God, and the pastor spoke powerful words over their lives. God is never too late. Even a broken story can become a testimony. Their joy began to grow. They found laughter again. Ndungo saw his children happy. Nduta sang as she worked, feeling peace return to her heart. But then, a surprise neither of them expected. One morning, Nduta felt faint at her sewing machine. Worried, she went to the small village clinic. The nurse checked her kindly and said, "My dear, you're expecting." Nduta nearly fainted right there. Expecting? The nurse grinned even wider. Yeah, triplets. Triplets? Nduta was so shocked she laughed and cried at the same time. She went to the same prayer hill that evening, lifting her hands to God. Lord, triplets, your plans are bigger than mine. When she told Ndongo that night, he nearly fell off his stool. 3 babies, he stammered. At once! Nduta just laughed, wiping away tears. God truly has a sense of humor. As the months passed by, the community gathered around them. Neighbors donated food, soap, and even old baby clothes. The church prayed and the village cheered. And when the day came, Nduta gave birth to 3 strong, healthy babies, a perfect harvest of joy after years of pain. They held those children in their arms, amazed, humbled, and full of faith that God was not done blessing them yet. They stood once more on that same hill, with all their children laughing around them, the sunset painting the village in gold. Ndungu held Nduta's hand and whispered, "Whatever comes, we will face it together." Nduta nodded peacefully, "Together forever." And so the story continues. Prove that no matter how far you fall, no matter how lost your dreams become, the God who writes our destinies can still bring healing, love, and even a surprise beyond your wildest imagination. That, my friend, means nothing is too hard for God. My dear listener, that is the story of Nduta and Ndung'u, a story of love reborn, a second chance, and a God who never forgets. For this and many more stories, please subscribe to our channel and let us know what you think of our stories in the comment section. Bye bye.